What's up, everybody? It's Little Big Robots back with another video. Today, talking about Hexagear's Definition Armor Blazeboar Assembly Manual. Well, I'm not just talking about the manual, I'm also talking about the actual model kit. I do apologize. Normally I have the box that this came in and all the extra bits left over, because as with most Hexagear, you have a lot of cool little bits left over. If you don't know what Hexagear is, at the end of this video you'll see a playlist of Hexagear. It'll explain it. It's basically a modular building system, kind of like a Gunpla model, but it's more swappable, it's more standardized. It's made by Kotobukiya, who is a neat company that makes really cool stuff. And as usual, this was not cheap. Their kits are not cheap, but you get so many details in the kit that it really is. I mean, it's a builder's line, but it's also really a painter's, customizer's line, because not only because of the ease of, you know, swapping parts, but in the, you know, the way you can combine them with other kits in the Hexagear line. But all the details really do, you know, ask you to, you know, apply some paint eventually. If you don't paint stuff, that's cool. You can still really enjoy Hexagear. I know I do. I do customs quite a bit. I just haven't done a lot of them lately because of timing. I don't have as much time as I used to because I'm building so much and doing so many reviews. So hopefully I'll get back to that. But this is essentially, if you saw my last one, which somebody in the comments called an upgraded trouble bubble, which was a reference to a G.I. Joe toy back in the good old 80s, I believe. I was not a G.I. Joe guy, but I remember the trouble bubble. It was like I think it had like a dome. I'll see if I can post a little picture of it up here. This is an upgraded version of that last kit that I reviewed. I can't remember what it was called, but anyway, I'll show that, or if you just go back in my couple videos ago, you'll see it. And this is essentially an armor, you know, like a where the last one was more about flying and had more of a lance weapon, had a lot of you know, jetpacky things and all that kind of stuff to, you know, fly up in the air. It was an aerial assault. I think it's called the Woodpecker, if I'm not confused. This looks like it's more of a walking, you know, literal armor thing, and I'll explain a little bit about it as I go along. But as usual, get a ton of details, a ton of options, and as usual with my kits, over the last, let's say, 6 months to a year, I assemble them really fast. So you're going to see some nub marks in here. I don't mind doing that because later, if I paint and customize, I'm going to clean up those nub marks, seam lines, and that kind of thing. But I also like people to see what the kit might look like with you know, just straight out of the box, just kind of straight built, as they say. So it's a pretty simple premise here. You've got some basic arms, you know. It has this attachable shield you can do. I like that you can take everything off with Hexagear relatively easily, but I don't like that at the same time, because Hexagear can often be finicky in the way that it might fall apart. It doesn't fall apart super easily, but it definitely can at times. This little shield is really cool. I guess you could take it off here and use it. I guess you could hold it in the hand here. Yeah, that's what it's for. So they have a lot of little cool little options like that. I mean, just that alone looks like one of my governor's shields that I have. The governor or the pilots or the humanoid versions. I'll show some of those. I'll show him in a minute. You can see him inside the armor here. This other side has this big old gun thing. I actually added this extra part to kind of keep it together. You can just hold it with the hand, but it is a little bit floppy, so I added that part. It's a little more balanced. It's so back heavy, as you can see, that it tends to fall back. So you really kind of have to just get it in a decent position. It'll stand there. And of course it has positions for basic stands and stuff. So if you want to make it jumping or flying up in there, it's pretty cool. So I'm going to disassemble this gun here as well. I'm going to take this off, and hopefully everything won't fly off in a million pieces. I don't think so. Hexagear is pretty reliable. You see how it can hold it even minus that. That's because here in the hand, if you can see the little hand here, let me move his hand out of the way. You can really get a lot of good details there, and a lot of kind of a strong little hand. So you basically, let's open the arm. It's, you know what, I'm going to take the arm off temporarily to show you. trying to be careful so everything doesn't fly off. It's not that fragile, I just don't like it to fly off. You just basically open the individual hand fingers here, and you slide it out like that. You take that, you rotate it in, and then you can hold it like that, or you can, I believe you could rotate it down. No, you can kind of do that. Another cool thing about this is you can take it apart pretty easily. You take these pieces apart. I'm not going to do them all because there's 6 or 5 of them. And then these 2 guns come apart and can mount on top of the Blazeboar. So it's pretty simple. You got some arms here that are controlled by the dude inside the armor. So it's kind of funny though, while he's inside the armor, he basically, unless I missed something, he is just using these hand things. And I'm guessing that the idea is that where he moves these hands, the arms will move. So, you know, these can kind of float freely in space. I've never seen it done that way. I thought at first, oh, that's kind of cheap. You know, there's no real connection here like a wire or something. But at the same time, you know, basic Bluetooth technology these days could probably allow that him to move the hand like that out in space, you know, just free floating, and the arm moves up. So that didn't really bother me as much as I thought it would. So, you know, you have your basic arms. They move as much as you think they would because they are Hexagear and they're amazing. I mean, like I said, the 3 fingers move separately. You have 2 fingers and then a thumb. You could, I'll bet, I've seen people do this, separate the 2 fingers and have them move individually, but it's a little bit of work there, so you might not want to do that. And then in the back, his legs simply float, and he steps on these things, and as he steps, which is kind of cool, the leg will actually move with his leg. You can see it bending there as it bends, so it's got a really nice, I mean, it really matches his body that way. The governor actually is a pretty typical governor. I'll show you here. You lift up the little protected part, and again, this is just a straight build, so there's no, there's no detail paints or, you know, stickers or anything, so some of that would really add to it. But oops, let's go ahead and take that hand off there real quick. That can happen a lot with governors. It doesn't happen as much as this with this one. So he sits in there like that. This comes down. I like this little red glowing bit there, and I guess he's mostly protected. Just don't shoot him in the arms. I guess is the idea. That's one thing about Hexagear. Sometimes they have these very visible chunks of flesh, and I always think that's kind of funny. But at the same time, though, he's pretty protected. He's got body armor himself and whatever. So to take him out, it's a bit involved. What I'm gonna do is let me just fold these back, kind of, and then I'll show you. His legs fit about how you'd think. So this should fold down quite a bit. So not bad so far. This is where it gets a little bit finicky, especially since I'm looking into the camera. You gotta grab them and pull them out. It's not a big deal. But you see that little back part, it plugs into that hexagon there. So Hexagear, hexagon, boop, like that. In the instruction manual, it seems to be showing that he should have a longer, like an extension on that part, and it go in there. And I found that no, you just do the basic one extension there, sit him in there first, stick him in, and then he basically rides, quite painfully looking, I should add, right on the bicycle seat. And then you have the legs here that his legs would go into. A neat little design, real basic stuff. Nothing, you know, nothing shocking in how it works. But again, with Hexagear, it's cool that it kind of has a militaristic reality to it, but at the same time, oh God, dang it! So you see what I mean? You see what I mean? I'm just gonna grab that while I'm recording. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab that. Blow off any dog hair, and let's see if I can get that back on here. This is one thing that frustrates me with Hexagear is it'll be really sturdy at the same time being, you know, like you're blowing it wrong and the thing is going to fall apart. And then see, I can't even remember how good this is. Now the other one's coming off. You know what? I'm going to leave it off. Leave it off and start getting frustrated. What I'll do is I'm actually going to pull this whole section off. It's really easy to pull off. So you just literally plug it in like that. And you can see the interior. Lots of cool details. This is a pretty common thing for the governors to just ride on, kind of like a bicycle crotch seat thing. Which is pretty common, but I wish that solution again was a bit more elegant. But I guess the idea is maybe he's plugged in there and that's supporting his body. I don't know, but you know, it works. Again, you can see all the little details that if you were to dry brush this even or do something cool like that, it would really, really work. But even minus that, when you get just the arms, you can already see some options for customizations. The legs are very cool. Now that's going to drive me crazy. Get in there, buddy. There we go, there we go. So the legs are pretty cool, but you can see how that easily falls off. What happens is you have this basic part here that goes along the side, which represents kind of like a, you know, the knee joint. This is his thigh. There's the knee, and you put the rubber gasket in there. This is how most snap together kits work, is they depend on basic tension with little rubber gaskets, and you just simply plug it in there. Oops, which can work. See, it's plugged in. But as soon as you start really kind of manipulating it a lot, it starts to just, you see how it just easily comes out. So you got to keep those assembled. I wish in a way that these weren't so thick. You see how they go together? They're a little bit thick. I don't know, maybe they should have been come out more or whatever. This maybe needs to squeeze in a little bit too. But it's like I said, it's not a super elegant solution. It's actually kind of a simple idea. You're just wrapping the guy in kind of plastic, but it works. I like that his feet, his legs literally just rest in there, so where he walks, it walks. And a lot of people have taken these Blazeboars and combined them, as I showed here. Actually, I need to show it again, how I showed in the instruction manual, to make these great big guys. That is a combination with the, those are weapons, I believe, from the, what's it called? The helicopter one I just took apart, the Steel Rain. So those are some great legs. And look, you see how it looks like he's actually just walking, controls the legs. So it's a little bit, he's got a nice large head on top. I didn't see that. So really, really cool. It's a shame I forgot to keep those extra parts out. I've got them in my Hexagear box because the extra parts it comes with, there's some really cool little extra parts in there you can use for customization. So to put it back together, you simply just plug it into that little, you know, again, not a super elegant solution, but it works. Put that down, plug it in. Hexagear it's just one of those things that you have to be patient with when you're posing it or when you're assembling it. But once you get it together like that, it's pretty sturdy. So there is basic Blazeboar. Sorry, I'm not positioning the camera well. Sorry about that. I like that he's got the tiny feet on the front away because it needs to have more support in the back. But what drives me crazy about is how tiny it looks, like little tiny feet, whereas it would feel like these should be reversed. And are they supposed to? No, they're not. So, you know, maybe they should have just put two in the front, but the foot itself is a really nice little design. Each little toe has its own little kind of way to, I can't really get that there, but it moves a little bit. So there's lots of posability and stuff like that. It's really cool, but you can see how back heavy it is compared to where the legs are. So they had to kind of put them forward so that when a governor sits in there, his legs, you know, are resting here, so they couldn't pull it too far back. Like I said, you can balance that with the weapons and stuff hanging out front. But now the governor you get is a basic governor. But when I was assembling them, I was like, this is probably my favorite governor I built so far because he just seemed really sturdy. I don't know if he's an older design or what, or a newer design, but he's just got a nice, now this loose part here is common in governors. I hate that, but at the same time, it gives them like a crunch and stuff, gives them a little more flexibility there. Oops, sorry. You can see his face there. It's kind of unique that most governors have, like that I've had, either have a face option or completely covered. Governors themselves are pretty expensive, but I really, and these sandals and shoes though, shoes and socks, sandals and socks look though has got to go, but still, they're just a really, really detailed little thing. Now, one problem I had, I was assembling this guy and I thought, oh man, I'm really enjoying this governor. For some reason, he just feels a little tighter. He feels like he's just a little bit, he's going to hold a pose more. All of them are pretty good about this, but some of them just have problems with the hands popping out. But then you can see the two shoulders I have are two different colors because this one went in just fine. It holds in there just fine. It holds a position. This one, the original one, I kept popping in and there's something about it. It was too tight or whatever. I don't know. And I couldn't get it to stay on. So luckily for me, I keep all my extra governor bits because you get a lot of them and just replaced the little shoulder part. So those two are a different color. That's like a green and that's like a tan, but you can't tell other than that. So great, fantastic governors. Posable as you'd think a governor should be, and they all are super duper posable. You know, you can do all this cool, I don't care what, you know, kicking himself in the back of the head, whatever. You know, you can do anything you can think of with a governor. That's what's great about them. That's kind of why they're more expensive than other comparable figures, I guess. But you get tons and tons of detail. So, you know, this was, I don't know, 35, 40 bucks. I don't remember how much it was. It doesn't seem like a lot. I'm not as much into the kind of mech armor that is I tend to enjoy the bulk arms where you can just set the guy in there and he's kind of encased in a mech. But this is a really fun optional, like more like a ground unit, you know, like a smaller unit, even though the Blazeboars are not much larger than these guys. I don't like that he's half exposed here and there, but again, what's cool about Hexagear is you can add on bits of armor and stuff if you really feel like it. You could probably find a way to fit his arms better and have him more hidden and stuff. But great governor, great armor set. I'm gonna call it a win. Worth the money. If you're into Hexagear, I have found that all Hexagear are worth the money, even though they're a little expensive, because I now have a huge box of Hexagear parts and stuff that I can use for customizing. I may never use this because I don't use the guns a lot, but look, that could even be, you could take those apart. Those could be leg parts. I mean, you can just do all sorts of cool stuff with Hexagear bits and baubles. It's just a great system. Fantastic. Go pick it up if you want. Blazeboar, Hexagear. Check out my playlist with the rest of them. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get to, I think, 3,500 by the end of the year, which I think I could do pretty easy. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.